my side.
Hello! It's working! Hello, everyone. Welcome to VO Journey Academy Live. Oh, here we go. Let's see if we can do it. My name is Anthony.
I'm Gabby.
I'm Angela.
Hey.
That's right. And we're silly voice actors. It is so good to see you all today. Angela, thank you so much for being with us.
It's my pleasure.
And we're trying all kinds of new stuff because we're trying to figure out how to stream to everybody's different platforms. And, you know, as we've talked about in the past, and a lot of people know, I'm working really diligently on getting better with utilizing all the corners of social media. And, you know, this is another one of those where I think it could be really cool. But today, we're very excited to be talking about Academy Voices. And hey, us three, we are there's a few other people who do help and do stuff with Academy Voices, but we're kind of the three people running the show over there. So we wanted to have Angela on, and we wanted to kind of talk about all that jazz. Also, we have a poll. All right, someone else do some talking. I'm doing all the talking.
Well, I think really it's a little bit of a preview, right? We want to educate people more on the process at Academy Voices, on what's happening, on how you can take advantage of it, on the opportunities that exist, and what each of us sees and experiences in our respective parts of this big casting engine of audiobooks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So maybe we start by talking about like what each of us does at Voices.
Okay.
I run the marketing. I'm doing the marketing right now, and
I do posts.
I do a lot of the posting.
I do posts.
The back end customer service stuff, but really the customer service stuff is still kind of spread out amongst the three of us. But you know, I deal with kind of the business back end of things as well as the social posts. Yeah, and managing that.
Yep.
So, Angela, what do you do?
I am also a coach for VO's Journey Academy, and I do a little bit of customer service as much as I can. But the large part of what I do for Academy Voices, and specifically, is the publishing side. And I think I've done about 30. I've published about 30 books so far, and I have to tell you that well, we can get into that later. But I handled some of the publishing. You guys can.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Great.
And then Gabby, how about you?
I am your casting maven. I basically review auditions and make selections and get the project into the hands of the voice actor to complete, to then go to Angela. Yeah.
Very nice. And then I take it and post it on social media.
Post. I do posts.
Yes.
Postmaster.
Yes. So the really cool thing about, I think at the moment, what's happening is, you know, we're all kind of settling into our places and getting to know a little bit more about the areas that we're working on. And when that happens, I think stuff starts to emerge, meaning like we start to learn about what is going well, what are some trials and tribulations, what are some, you know, issues. And I think it's really cool because, you know, we wanted to share today some of the stuff we're seeing being on the casting side, because it's so cool. And I want to ask Gabby and Angela this, but, you know, we're voice actors. We've done that for our careers, but now we're still voice actors, but we're also now, you know, we've become publishers, casting directors, all that jazz. And it's really kind of cool to be on the other side of it, because you get to see a lot. So let's kind of chat about some of the things that we're seeing, maybe that we want to let people know. And also there's a poll, by the way. We're just interested if you're auditioning on Academy Voices. If you type 1 for yes, 2 for no, just interested to see if you're auditioning on there. So, Gabby, why don't you start us off or kick us off with some of the things you're seeing from a auditioning standpoint that you're seeing happening?
So probably the most important, the one you and I talk about a lot on our lives and throughout this channel, is audio quality, right? Be it audio that's being recorded in stereo but played in mono, therefore we're only getting it out of one speaker. Background noise, hums, buzzes, what clearly sounds like an HVAC unit in the background. Those are all big ones, and they are deterrents. If your acoustic treatment is not great, you have to think about long-term listenability when it comes to a book. And yeah, it's going to be something that it doesn't matter how great the performance is, those issues are going to be taken into consideration when we cast. So that's a biggie where, I feel like, and I don't want to inundate you with people by constantly going, hey, talk to Anthony. Hey, talk to Anthony. But I really feel like there's a lot of people within the Academy Voices family right now that need some tech help. So yeah.
It's interesting because I was same thing with you and Angela, because I'm the people are contacting me and I'm like, you need to talk to Angela. You need to talk to Gabby.
I had one of those this morning. I had somebody who was like, Anthony told me to message you. I'm like, okay.
I'm sure that's exactly what you said.
Yeah, it is.
Damn that man.
Yeah.
Damn that man. All right. So as we get to all that part, flowing over to you, Angela, Angela, now is handling. Well, tell us what you do, Angela, and what some of the stuff you're seeing and all that jazz.
Once the audio files are submitted as for a finished audiobook, I will take them and go through them, make sure that they are to what we call ACX standard, meaning that the RMS levels are correct, the peak amplitude is correct, the room tone at the head and tail are correct. All of those things, I make sure that there aren't any major issues with noise floor or intermittent noise throughout the files. And same kind of thing, Gabby. I'm seeing most of what I'm having to fix is the room tone at the head and tail, mostly the head. Lots with room noise or noise floor issues. So I'm having to go through and see if I could reduce that without completely destroying the audio in the process. But that's only been a handful. But I think the majority of what I see is RMS issues or peak amplitude issues.
See, that's really interesting because I didn't know you were doing all that, woman, because I think this is something that, this is why I wanted to have this little get together, because I feel like our actors need to know this. Because, okay, look, we're spoiling people. We're doing this, right? Like the fact that, Angela, you're taking that time, holy cow, because a lot of places, they wouldn't do that. They would just reject the file and go, nope, we can't use this. You got to fix it. So I think that that's and as we get busier, I don't know. I would like to think that we wouldn't, but we might, right? There may come a point that we have to do that because
exactly
we just don't have the time to. So how long is it taking you on average, Angela, to actually post, upload, finish a book and get it?
Not as long as you would think, because there's only little tweaks that I'm doing. And to your point, I think going forward, once we get caught up, because we had a little bit of a backlog, so I wanted to get through them. I think there was only one or two that I actually had to re-record intros and outros for, only because I think in one, Anthony's name was mispronounced, and or he was called Andy. You were Andy Pika or something? Andrew Pika is what it was.
Andrew.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. And then there was another one where it was just the audio quality was just but to answer your question, not as long as you would think. It's just little things that I've done a million times, so it doesn't take me very long. But once we get caught up, I think I'm going to get to because it's important for the learning, for the narrator to know how to fix these things and to make sure that they can meet those standards.
I think that's a big thing for us, which is probably why, to Gabby's point, and then what Angela's doing, is that we are moving forward with those, because kind of how I felt, which is it's been so nice having Gabby and then Angela take over these things, because for a while I was doing a lot of it. I mean, we've had some other casting people, of course, but from the audiobook side, the publishing side, I did what did you started around 550, Angela, or 540 audiobooks that we had published or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So I mean, yeah, we've been doing a lot, and a part of the early mission was to help voice actors who are just beginning, and it's still a part of our mission. However, I find that the busier we get here, and the more people that are joining, and the more auditions we're getting, the more audiobooks, that it just becomes more challenging to spend as much time on each individual one. So I'm interested so here's another little thing that's interesting to me is the recording. Some people might not know, right, that Angela, you're sometimes re-recording the opening or closing or spots like that, right?
That was only like twice.
Yeah. I've done it multiple times, and it's just something that I know. That's another thing, is understanding exactly what the files that are needed, right? An opening credits, a closing credits, always need a retail sample. And a lot of times, we've created a retail sample, which is fine, but I'm just saying it's an interesting kind of idea there. I'm interested in what you guys think about, what is your level of sound, like professional sound, when it comes to not just background noise, but a treatment in a space? Because I found when I was doing a lot of this and the casting and the stuff like that, or the files, we've had to reject many of them just because the sound of the sound of like the booth or wherever they are is not treated. What do you guys think about that? At what level is it like, okay, this is an okay, this is a not okay? Because it's a thing. It's a thing. And the more I hear more and more people talking about, even, and I know the Disney thing was different, but the more people I hear about phones and all this stuff about recording, and you could just get started anywhere with anything, you know what I mean? It just it pops up.
I think for me, it's a matter of A, is it distracting? B, does it make the book lose its intimacy? Because to me, and I don't know, maybe this is just my opinion, but to me, listening to a book, I should really feel like you're right there with me, and there should be no the acoustics have to match that idea that we are in an intimate environment and that you're sitting very, very close to me. So anything that breaks that illusion, to me, is problematic.
I would agree with you, Gabby. I think we are a little biased. I think the three of us are a little bit biased, but I think to the casual listener, it's not going to be that as much of a deal to them if they're enjoying the story, because ultimately that's our job, right? Is to immerse the listener into the story and to hold them captive in it. So audio is really not that big of a deal unless it's super distracting, unless it sounds like they're recording in their bathroom, or there's a fan going and everything they say is just kind of jumbled, right? I mean, that's when you go, okay. Yeah. But I mean, my preference is much like yours, Gabby. I want to hear you sitting next to me telling me the story, but we're not always going to get that. And we talk about this a lot in Launchpad and in the Academy, and how to treat your space, that your space is more important than the equipment that you choose. And we also go over how to do Rax effects, tweaks, and room treatment with Caesar and a bunch of other people. Anthony, I know you do. So we talk about it a lot. It's just a matter of getting all of those pieces in place because there's so many variables. Everybody's space is different. So it's hard to just take what someone says to do here and then apply it to your spot, because it's not going to work.
There's there's a converse to this too, or an inverse, however you want to look at it, that sometimes because of the processing and the effects chain and the things that people are using, there's a feeling that the words are clipped. Yeah. Or that there's not quite the clarity to speech in some instances. And that's something I look out for too, because obviously nobody wants to listen to a book and second guess what the narrator may or may not be saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a comment by Tales of, is it Tales of
That's Tiger Lily.
Tiger Lily.
Hey, Tiger
Cool.
Lily, look at
Love
that.
it. And I wanted to point it out because this is something that, when I started Academy Voices, I thought very carefully about. And at first, so I did a couple of things for this, and then something happened. So basically, in an ideal world, one of our biggest gripes as voice actors, all of our gripes, is that when we audition for something, we never get feedback on why we were not chosen, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
And I think that causes just this desire to get someone to be like, hey, I didn't go with you because there was a weird noise coming through your audio, or I didn't go with you because your acting didn't quite reach the level, like you didn't reach the personality I was looking for. I mean, some of us, we just would love that. However, that's not normally what happens. So one thing that we did at Academy Voices, I did early on, is I wanted to give people at least the ability to listen to other auditions. So one thing that we do, right, is you have the ability to listen to other people's auditions when they audition for something. Now, I know some people like, oh, they're a little nervous about that, but I found very positive growth in being able to listen. How is other people approaching the audition? How does it sound? Because one thing you never get to listen to is other people's auditions.
It's so smart. It's so smart on so many levels, because I know for me, that's why I love sitting in the casting chair, because this position is what has allowed me to grow as an actor by hearing the choices other actors make. So that is invaluable. It reminds me, this is silly, but I had an interaction with a voice actor this morning who very naively, because they're so new, said, yeah, I've sent out 5 auditions and now I'm just awaiting feedback. And I didn't want to burst their bubble and go, good luck, because that's never gonna happen.
Bless their heart.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And so that was one thing. And early on, what I did is I tried to respond to I literally tried to give feedback to people's auditions. Hey, there was something here, or hey, I think we could work on that. But the reality, everyone, is that you're seeing the 3 of us here, and we are going through, I mean, we're publishing, 30, 40 audiobooks a month. And that's probably just going to keep going up as it's keeping rising.
If I have my way with it, yeah.
So, and then we were just talking about some of our other stuff. I mean, I also deal directly with the authors currently. That's something that will move over to Angela soon enough. But so we have also a lot of authors, because if you follow our Instagram, IG, or TikTok, or anything like that, you see, you're seeing a lot of audiobooks too, saying, hey, just published, we're in production. These are all also authors as well, not just some of our classic literature series, as well as some of our meditation series and a variety of our Avion history series. We've got a lot of stuff going on, so it's a lot. So it's very challenging to give feedback because there just literally isn't time. And I think that's something to just be aware of, which is why I think VO Journey Academy is such a cool part of what we do as linked. And I'm not sure how many people know. Well, we probably have a lot of people here who do, but how kind of linked and we are with. But we have a lot of people at Academy Voices who are not in VO Journey, and that's fine as well.
It's almost half.
It is actually. It is almost half of the people who are in Academy Voices who are just not in VO Journey, which is fine.
Yeah, we're gonna, hopefully as soon as this live ends, the 3 of us are gonna set a date. I'm pushing this hard. We're gonna set a date to have a live event for VOJ and Academy Voices to help you guys improve on submission techniques, what you're doing. Like, I want to talk about slating. I want to talk about speed. These are some of the other things I'm running into. Like, to me, it's almost hilarious that we have a closed circuit auditioning system, right? Meaning the auditions are not going out anywhere else. They're just in Academy Voices. And yet people are continuing to slate. I'm like, stop it. Stop with the slating. We know who you are. We know where you came from. Like, we know all the things. We don't need that. Yeah. So, I mean, and it's all to encourage you to submit more and to increase your odds of booking. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we do have, I think we've got a lot of good kind of conversation things going on over here. Let's see. George says, I love listening to other auditions. Good for both inspiration and levity. So listen.
That's such a great picture of George, too. I love that. It's so great.
Angela, I wanted to ask you something as you've taken over the publishing part, because, honestly, Angela's the first person who because I've done all the publishing throughout the entire time Academy Voices has been going on. And Angela's the first person. What have you learned from taking on the publishing part? What interesting stuff have you learned from that side? Just anything in general?
No.
No.
I feel like so much pressure. I don't.
Meaning, has it been
okay.
surprising to you as
Yes.
doing your own work, and now you are like the transition into now distributing, publishing other voice actors and stuff?
Yes. It's sort of it's sort of a double-edged sword. I'm proud because most of these actors I've worked with in some capacity over the years. And then in the other, and I'm like, we've talked about this so many times. Why are we still doing this? Right? In terms of the ACX standards. And I get it. I mean, I've been there. It's tough to get to the ACX standard. Once you move one metric somewhere, everything else just kind of goes kablooey. It's a delicate choreography of effects and functions to get everything perfect to be in it. But little things are being overlooked. And so I'm kind of going, eh. It just makes my brain kind of go, ah. I'm proud, but oh God.
I do. And what I wanted to ask you, because now that you brought that up, and Gabby, you're seeing it on the audition end. It is interesting to me because of the education part inside me. I so want to be like, I almost want to like call these people on the phone and be like, okay, look, let's have a talk. Because I'm interested in what, like, is this, like, are you struggling getting work other places? And maybe this is a reason why we're still struggling, and you might not even be aware, or you're just putting stuff out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's important. It's important. It's important that they know so we can get it fixed. I do. So Gabby, what would this look like? I think, because that would be an interesting thing to answer, but it would be difficult to answer individual, like, to do. And I wonder if there was a way to do something where we could review individual files for people, pick pick some and review them.
It's possible.
We could make that like, do you remember the podcast, Mission Audition?
Oh yeah, I was on it. Yeah.
We could do something like that for Academy Voices.
Yeah. So basically I was a guest, judge on that one, and a coach, and it was pretty cool. I mean, basically they picked umpteen people, you know what I mean? And they got scripts and they auditioned and they submitted them, and then we would listen, and then you would give your feedback about it, the sound, the acting, everything. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I do as well. I mean, what Angela said about being proud, it's so true, because we're in a very unique position in that most rosters, your talent come to you pre-baked. They're already fully formed and fully cooked. But because we're all also coaches, we've seen that evolution of people's performances. So yes, it's weird to like listen to an audition and like in the back of my, like, I'm rooting for this person. Like, I'm like, oh, please be good. Please be good. Please be good. Because I want to place them where I can. So yeah, that could be a really interesting component to this, of sort of like a quarterly report card or something. you know.
No, absolutely. I love that. So what are some of the things that, tips we can give people who maybe Gabby, a few auditioning tips. I had a question the other day, simply like, hey, I submitted an audition, but I think I can do better. Can I resubmit another one? We have tips on like, Angela, like, naming your files. If I've got a question about do I need a retail sample? What is, is there a way I can, or how do I, should there be a form? There is a format, by the way. We give everybody a format on how to say their opening and closing credits and everything like that.
Everything's given.
But, any tips that you guys have on any of that? Because that would be kind of cool from so let's start with the casting part and everything. Gabby, any tips overall?
Yeah. No, so on Academy Voices, I don't want to hear a slate. I want you to go right into the book. Don't break that illusion for me. I want to go right into the performance. A slate in an audiobook takes too damn long. I already know what you're there. I don't want to hear all that. The next thing is be cautious of modern pacing. I feel like a lot of people are still belaboring their reads and going much slower than they actually have to, whereas, we have picked up the pace a lot. So that's important. And I think the third and the final one I'll leave with for today is knowing where your voice is best suited and take risks every now and then, but understand that your voice type fits certain genres of audiobooks. And if you're auditioning for something that's way off base for that voice print, we're probably not going to book you for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, so those are real good ones. Angela, how about you?
I think it's something that we talk about all the time, and that is reading the tech specs. That's important for anything, audiobook, voiceover. If you're given points, script with notes, if there's specs that you need to adhere to, make sure that you follow those. Because, I mean, outside of Academy Voices, you're just going to get tossed into the circular bin if you're not, if your files aren't what they're asking for, just A. But in terms of Academy Voices, I know Gabby, in the audition notes and the production notes that you give, which is fantastic. You give them everything they could ever need within the folder. And it's just a matter of following that. And then, do you actually list the ACX specs in there too?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw that. Yeah. So everything is given. It's just follow it.
Would you say what would you say the number of files? Because I saw this, so I can speak to about 80% of the audiobooks that have been published through Academy Voices. That's the majority of all of them. There was either the head or the tail was not done correctly. That's the number one thing that's usually off. Meaning you don't have between 0.5 and 1 seconds in the beginning and 1 to 5 seconds at the end.
Yes.
All right. That's the number one thing. By the way, it also has to be that way on the retail sample. So when you like a lot of people did the retail samples, kind of like the afterthought part, you know what I mean? So make sure all those files. Another thing, it needs to be now, because I think all three of us here use Adobe Audition, that, using Adobe Audition is very simple to run your work to ACX standards. It's just a button click. And that's really nice. But that has to be like, I found that we have certain voice actors, and this is what I want to chat about real quick, that because this can be anybody here who does this. Every file I've ever gotten from them is pristine and perfect. There was never an issue. There was never something done wrong. And meaning that it's easier to work with someone over and over again too, that you're not going to have any issues with their files, their naming and stuff like that. You guys have you, Gabby, Angela, what do you think about that? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's not much else I can say to that other than yes.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you on that one. I'd say 80% have a head and tail issue. Maybe 30% have noise floor issues.
Which do you guys, which on a side note, with all of that going on, I wonder to myself, like, so if they're going other places and trying to update, I mean, their stuff must be getting kicked back. Or I wonder if they're, you know what I mean? Like, I wonder what's happening because it's literally almost all the files. Like you said, the majority of them, there's some issue with something of the file. It's not to the standard it needs to be. Do you know what I mean? Like it's interesting. So I wonder if that many, so I don't know. What do you think? I don't know.
Or maybe I'm just too picky. I don't know. or maybe whatever software the other places are using, if that's the case, is spot checking in places where it is okay or close enough. Or
we did have a question here, and I wanted to get your guys' thoughts. One, Kenny brought up, Kenny, yes, that's actually my job, Kenny. and so I am behind on that, Kenny. My bad. I will get on that. And now I will say something. So Kenny's bringing about he's posted his demo reels and his head so first off, make sure, and I don't know, I got to check, Kenny, everybody, you have to have a headshot that I can use and a demo, all right, submitted. And then when you have those, right, I need to make sure that the demo itself is up to par, because there's unfortunately a lot of ones I get that aren't good. Also, it has to be an audiobook demo. So I get a lot of people submitting commercial demos, character demos. Right now it's audiobooks only. And we do have plans in the future. There's so much we can do, but right now it's audiobook. So I need the audiobook demo. Now, if you have all of that, it could be that, it's just, it's probably like once a week I get in there, or twice a week. So that's probably it. So Kenny, I will get to that. But we did have a question about, I don't have the editing skills to even attempt auditioning yet. It's not a question. It's more of a statement. But to me, I'm thinking of it as a question. I'm still working on honing my performance skills and editing skills.
Stop it, Sage.
I don't want to submit subpar work.
Stop it, Sage. You're fine. You're overthinking it.
And that's what I wanted to say. Please don't be afraid, even though we're talking about, hey, we want you to have correct stuff. The only way you get there is by submitting and learning from the challenges.
Yeah, it's true. You got to have a little bit of a risk there.
Gabby, tell us about some of the things real quick you're doing that we're expanding into and that we're growing. Briefly.
Yeah. Because I have another meeting. We don't usually go this long for the lives. Subgenres and subcategories that are cultural, ethnic, that really I feel strongly about creating little mini sub coalitions or groups to help run those for Academy Voices. And I'm starting with two areas that seem pretty obvious, one being African American authors and works, and the other being the LGBTQIA plus community. And I'm hoping to just continue to expand that in other genres and other areas where we can start to create expert pockets to help attract our audiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And then lastly, because we're going to get going here, Angela, one thing I've noticed really well, how are you approaching the covers and the things differently? Because they look amazing.
I totally forgot to mention that. Yeah, we did a little bit of a shift in our approach to the covers to be a little bit more contemporary, have a little more contemporary feel. And then I changed that again yesterday, and I'm really happy with the results. Do you guys like them? Have you guys seen the new covers? I think they're awesome.
I love them. Yeah,
I think they're awesome. They're coming out great.
They're fantastic. And so anyways, I want to thank everybody for coming today, being with us. We, are so excited. Of course, we all teach at VO Journey Academy as well. And we run Academy Voices. So we's doing a lot. Well, thank you guys so much for watching.
And we're going to have this longer meeting on the calendar very soon.
Yes.
She's pushing.
I am.
She's pushing it.
It's important.
And thank you, Angela, for coming today and being on the show with us. We love it. Angela's show's on Tuesday, of course, as always. And we'll see you guys later. We'll see you tomorrow for Open Forum Friday. Bye, everybody. Goodbye. See you later.